The riders of the Giro D'Italia were subjected to their third mountain test in a row. This time, Tadej Pogacar would take the pink jersey from Selva Val Gardena all the way to Passo Brocon. A shorter day in terms of kilometres on the menu, 159, 5 mountain passes, and thankfully better weather, no arguments, no cancellations or modifications to this particular stage 17. To ascents of Passo Brocon, first from the north, then from the west. First visit to the mountain at the Giro since the 1960s. It would be a very difficult start, and the Cima Coppi would be tackled straight away. With the removal of the Stelvio and its replacement the day before, it'd be uphill for 50 points, and that special prize, winner of this stage, would take the Trofeo Torriani in memory of the late Giro organiser. First couple of attacks came in the first few kilometres. Several riders, including Georg Steinhauser, Nicola Conci, a couple from VF Group Bardiani, would try to get up the road. Closer to the top of the climb, Pogacar was marking. Pellizzari was going for it, and it was a photo finish at the top of the Passo Sella as Nairo Quintana made a late burst for the Cima Coppi. It will be the youngest rider in the race at 20 years and 6 months, Giulio Pellizzari, who'd win the prestigious prize. He'd go and continue to attack. Julien Alaphilippe would go on the descent, as would Emmanuel Gebrexiabier, and 10 riders would get in a breakaway. Would it be the break of the day? UAE Emirates tried to control things. Quite a few riders got back, and DSM Firmenich Postinel were one of the teams who really wanted a race. At the top of the Passo Rolle, the gap was just over a minute. Pellizzari took another big set of points. King of the Mountains prize, a long shot for anybody whose name isn't Tadej Pogacar, however. On the descent, anybody who wanted to be in the front of the race was really struggling. DSM had forced a gap. They caught the breakaway and would try to attack. Romain Bardet, though, was marked by Tadej Pogacar. They're still with 60 kilometres to go. There was confusion as to how things would go from there on in. Riders who'd been in the original breakaway thinking about attacking again. And then, with just under 60 k's to go, near the top of the shortest climb of the day, Emmanuel Gebrexiabier of a Lidl Trek would go for it. Georg Steinhauser would follow him. Would there be any more reaction? The two quickly got 42 seconds, but they still had 2 ascents of the Passo Brocon to come. Inside the final 40 k's, a more apathy behind, but 35 kilometres remained when, with a minute and a half of a gap, it would be Georg Steinhauser to attack Gebrexiabier, the 22-year-old German looking to do something magnificent. He'd never won a bike race, but he was out there with a gap, and that gap continued to grow. Onto the final climb of the day, and with 8.5 kilometres to go, he had over 3 minutes on the Maglia Rosa group. They, in turn, were led by the Ineos Grenadiers. Gebrexiabier was caught, but with 4 k's left to the line, Steinhauser still had just under 3 minutes. He was hanging on, he was holding on, but he was still looking good. Looking less good was Ben O'Connor, who started to lose contact with an acceleration among the GC favourites. That acceleration mainly came from Dani Martinez. Pogacar then came to the front. And as we've become accustomed to seeing, Pogacar would go off the front. Very quickly the gap opened again. Thomas and Martinez in the chasing group with Tiberi, Rubio and company. Romain Bardet was having a better day than the day before. Steinhauser, in the meantime, was having the day of his life. Pogacar was gaining, but was he gaining enough? The answer, a very clear no. A minute and a half of a margin of victory for EF Education Easy Post Georg Steinhauser. His family ties talked about extensively as he came to his first Grand Tour. Now he was his own man. A first pro victory at a first Grand Tour. A new German cycling star was born. Pogacar pedalled over and extended his lead yet again in the general classification. Tiberi putting distance between himself and Arensman in the white jersey. Just a handful of seconds. But all the glory on the day going to Georg Steinhauser as EF Education Easy Post finally came and got what they were looking for, a stage win at this Giro. Small differences between the GC riders. Ben O'Connor, one of the big losers on the day, but the big winner, Georg Steinhauser. What a way to announce your arrival on the big stage. Tadej Pogacar now leads by almost 8 minutes in the GC. Martinez second at 7:42, Thomas at 8:04. Another day in the Maglia Rosa, number 16 now for Pogacar, at a day closer to Rome, as the riders probably will try to set up a sprint on stage 18. It's an opportunity for those sprinters as they go to the Venetian plain, finishing in Padova, but this stage down the years with tired sprinters and maybe a reduced bunch has always offered an opportunity for the brakes to supply. You can watch it on Eurosport, Discovery Plus, or if you're in the US, on Max.